Ever felt like losing weight and giving up your life? I did too. Until I proved myself wrong by losing 11 stone without sacrificing takeaways, nights out, or family meals. And today, I'm telling you how I did it. If you're new here, I'm Sam, personal trainer and online coach, and someone who's lost 11 stone already myself. Now, I help people just like you lose weight without giving up a normal, enjoyable life. In this episode, you'll learn why restriction is wrecking your progress, how to fit your favourite foods into your plan, and how I lost over 11 stone while still enjoying a takeaway at the weekend. If you enjoy this, make sure to hit follow and drop me a message after the episode. I'd love to hear what hit homes for you and exactly what you'd like to see from me and the podcast. All right, let's get into it. So, I'm Sam, and as I said, I'm an online coach and personal trainer who's lost an 11 stone. Now, today, first episode of the podcast, I'm going to talk you through my story and exactly the mistakes that I've made. So, let's jump into it. So, the main story probably starts for me as a child. I'm someone who, the vast majority of my life, I've been overweight, unhappy with how I looked, typical thing of feeling self-conscious when you go to the beach. Anywhere you got to go, it shows off your body. Always felt uncomfortable and unhappy in who I was. And honestly, for anyone who's been through something similar like that, I think you'll realise just how crippling those emotions are. You have a complete lack of confidence in yourself. Your whole outlook on life is different. You go out somewhere and you feel self-conscious. That means you can't relax properly. You can't truly enjoy the experience because you're worrying about what you look like, you feel stressed. It just becomes completely unenjoyable. That's something that I had the vast majority of my life. And it's something that as I got into my late teenage years, got worse and worse. I had tried multiple diets and things before in the past. But like most of us, I made the same rookie errors. Cutting my calories down far too low. All it created was an unhealthy relationship with food, an unhealthy body, and an unsustainable diet that was just doing me harm physically and mentally. Honestly, I was in a bad place. The first proper diet that I can remember, I was probably around 16, 17. At the time, I was studying at school, and as I said to you, I was unhappy. I felt like I needed to make a change, and I didn't really know what I was doing. So I just thought, I eat much less food, do a lot more exercise, I'm bound to lose weight. Now, this is quite a hard story to talk about really, but the truth of it is that what I was actually doing was I would have a 500 calorie microwave meal, and that was it for the entire day. And then as I said, I was going to school, I was in sixth form, I was studying, and I would play hours of football, I'd then come home, I'd then go for a run. And what that created over time was effectively an extremely weak body. I was struggling mentally, I was struggling physically, and I was in a really bad place. And it all came to a head one morning where effectively I tried to get out of bed and I simply couldn't do it. My body had given up and I was just completely run out of energy. And it took for my mum to come upstairs and see me and for her to start crying, for me to decide, you know what, I can't continue with this. It's not healthy. I'm going to make myself seriously ill if I don't make a change. So from there, unfortunately for me, I didn't learn from my mistakes and I just let things completely slip. I just went back to eating as I would do normally, and as a result, the weight piled back on. I then went to university and I studied law at the time. And university was a very strange time for me in lots of ways. It was so good for me in some areas of my life because it really made me develop and grow up as a person. It gave me exposure to different people and different cultures, but I also went through a lot of soul searching and tough times mentally whilst at university. I suddenly had this level of freedom that I hadn't had before, but I also had some money issues and I couldn't always necessarily eat the best quality of food. But not just that, you're a student. You're out drinking a lot, you're having fast food and takeaways, and honestly, you're not really prioritising your fitness for a lot of us. And all of this together created who I became, who was someone really struggling with mental health issues and depression, and someone who's extremely overweight and unhappy. The loss of my dad, so my dad suddenly died from a blood clot. Effectively, he broke his ankle. Blood clot travelled up to his lungs, and effectively there was one morning suddenly that killed him. At this point, I'm 21 years old. I'm in the final few months of my law degree, so it was already obviously an extremely tough time. I was stressed. I was trying to take on the responsibility of being the oldest sibling, trying to manage that, manage the degree, try and deal with grief as you're going to, and it was all just too much for me, honestly. I dealt with it. I managed to get through my exams. I managed to get 2-1, which is still one of my proudest achievements to this day, to have come through everything that I did and still achieve that. I managed to support my family in the best way that I could, but ultimately it took a massive toll on me. My eating habits became worse, my sleep was terrible, and my health in general was just deteriorating massively. And this is something that actually took me quite a few years to overcome. In all honesty, the vast majority of my early, coming into my mid-20s, was probably the hardest times of my life. As I said to you, I was extremely overweight, I was unfit, I was unhealthy, and I'd lost any sense of passion and motivation for life. And one of the few things at the time that gave me comfort was food. So although I'm someone who's always been active, my diet was not good. So yes, I might have gone to the gym and trained. I'm not saying I've trained amazingly. I was that typical person that went to the gym and just trained arms every day, missed out upper body parts, just went in. But then on the way home, I would go to the supermarket and I'll buy crisps and chocolate and whatever I was gonna eat. And I'll sit there and eat that evening. And that would be a repetition almost every single day. Which, unless you're someone who's genetically very blessed with a fast metabolism, which I'm certainly not, doesn't do you any good at all. So I ballooned up to being about 160 kilos, so pretty big. And just for reference, I'm 6'2", so yes, I could carry that weight better than some people who were shorter, but as you've seen with the picture earlier on, I was massively overweight and unfit and unhealthy. And the real turning point, as I said, took me a good few years. And it actually happened when I joined a new gym. So a new gym opened in the area. At the time it was called Leading Results Fitness. Since then it's been rebranded. And effectively it was run by bodybuilders. And they were doing a diet plan for people, and my brother decided that he wanted to do it. So he signed up for it, he got all of the diet and nutritional information through, and he was doing like a 10-week sort of like shred competition thing. And he showed me the diet. And I remember looking at it and something clicked. I suddenly felt like I need to do something now. I said, I've got this opportunity where there's a diet in place here. And whilst I wouldn't recommend you doing what I did there, because that diet was designed for my brother. My brother is 5'8", far slimmer than I was at the time, more muscular than I was at the time, just completely different lifestyle and body proportions. I didn't know what I was doing. As I said, I decided I was going to copy that. As I said, yeah, I felt like I needed to make a change. I'd been so unhappy in who I was, the person that I looked at in the mirror, having little to no enjoyment in my everyday life. And something just sparked to me that said, you're better than this, you need to do something about this, and maybe this is an opportunity for you to make your life better. So I decided I was going to follow exactly the same plan as my brother. And the results were honestly quite amazing for me. It was the turning point in my life. And that might sound really extreme, but it's genuinely true. That decision has taken me from the person that I was before, so unhappy, overweight, unfit, having no motivation for life, just trying basically to make it to the next day, to the person that I am now, where I'm the happiest I've ever been, I'm the fittest that I've ever been, my personal life is really, really good. I've got an amazing, beautiful fiance due to get married in literally a few weeks' time. I'm going out exploring the world and I'm living life rather than just existing as I was previously. And quite honestly, it all comes down to that one decision to take control and to do something about it. So by following this diet, I started to lose weight really quite quickly. Over the course of a few months, I lost stones in weight. And it became quite addictive, to be honest, that I was almost seeing change every day. And I'd weigh myself the following week. I'd see a big drop in weight. And it becomes addictive. You see that progress happening right in front of you. You have comments from people saying, "Oh my God, you're losing weight, you look different." You see someone that you've not seen for a month and they almost can't believe about how much weight you've lost and how different you look. It becomes very addictive, and at that point actually then easy to stick to the plan because of the results that I was having. And quite honestly, it was addictive and I was loving it. But it then came to a stage at which I had lost a significant amount of weight. I'm going to say probably somewhere in the region of 5-6 stone, something like that, after a good, probably like 5-6 months of doing it. And I then decided, well, do you know what? I feel like I actually need to do something slightly different now. I can't just keep on this low calorie diet that is designed for someone to do over a short period of time to get maximum results. I need to do something a little bit different, and I almost need to prove to myself at this point that I'm not going to be one of those people that loses significant weight and then all of a sudden messes it up and puts all of that weight back on again. So I decided I was going to take control of the diet things myself and slowly start trying to reintroduce food and have a bit more of a normal life again. And this point for me is probably one of the biggest milestones in my fitness journey so far, because it was the point at which I proved to myself that this was actually going to be the new me. This wasn't just going to be another person yo-yoing up and down, losing weight, putting it back on, losing it, putting it back on. I actually found that I'd created a new lifestyle for myself. I was now that person that was going to the gym, was absolutely loving training, was enjoying the process of actually being aware of what I was eating, and honestly, I felt good. For the first time in my life, I was starting to have confidence in myself. I started to go on dates after being single for years. And honestly, like I said to you, it felt good. For the real first time, confidence and some level of body positivity was actually in my life. And it's so refreshing and different to anything else I'd ever felt in my life. And I just continued from there. I went through a period of being a little bit more lax and having a little bit more of a normal life as such, in which I wasn't tracking everything all of the time, but the vast majority of the time I was still pretty disciplined. And over the next few years, I would go up and down a little bit based on what I was doing. I would do a slight maintenance or bulking phase in which I'd push my calories up a little bit. I would have a little bit more freedom and a little bit less restriction. And then every so often I would do a bit of a harder diet again and come down a bit lower. So the overall trend was going down in weight and my body composition and fitness improving each time I would do it. But I didn't still have everything sorted. I still had, honestly, a bad relationship with food. So at times I would binge. So even within a diet period, I would diet Monday to Friday, and then at the weekend, I would order myself a Domino's or something like that. And for most people, there's probably nothing wrong with that because you're creating a more sustainable lifestyle. Having the odd meal here and there isn't the problem. But I was trying to diet down to more extremes and then binging on a pizza and chocolate and crisps and things like this. And effectively, I was undoing all of the hard work that I was putting in the course of an evening. Binge, restrict, repeat time after time. And yes, I was seeing a certain level of results, but the mentality behind it is extremely unhealthy. I felt like I was punishing myself Monday to Friday by dieting down, and then if I saw a loss on the scales, I would think, I've earned this food. And that's such an unhealthy place to be in mentally, seeing food as punishment and reward, rather than just enjoying a more balanced lifestyle overall. And that's something that continued for a good few years. I mean, up and down at times, but generally sticking in a pretty decent body level for me compared to where I'd come from. During that time, as I said, I started to really fall in love with training. It'd been a level of therapy to me that like nothing else I'd ever really had in life. It was an outlet for me to channel whatever was going on in my life, in my head at the time. I'd go into the gym, I'd train hard, and I would come out feeling better than I did on the way in. I felt like no matter what else was going on in my life that I couldn't control, I was doing something positive by going to the gym and by achieving something. So for anyone who's not into the gym and training and fitness, it's something I'm really big on trying to get them to do. It might not be for you, and that's not a problem. But for so many people, it becomes their level of therapy. And it's why I always say that even if my body doesn't change from now to 10 years' time, I would still go to the gym and train just as much as I do now. Because for me, it's mental therapy. It makes me feel good, it makes me happier, and on those days in which life feels a little bit too much, honestly, it changes my mood. So if you're not someone who's regularly into it, give it a try. But moving on from there, when things started to pick up more seriously for me, was quite honestly when I decided that, do you know what, this is actually my passion. I've always been someone who's been active and someone who's enjoyed teaching other people, and seeing just how much happier I was in my own life now, having gone through such a change, gave me a real desire to try and help other people. And I didn't really know how to do it at the time. I was still lacking confidence to a certain degree. Yes, I felt more confident in who I am, but I still didn't think that people would necessarily want help from me, buy into me and what I do. I might question me and think, well, what does he know about it? He's not in that amazing a shape. So it took me a while to overcome those confidence issues and realise that, do you know what? I've actually been through quite a significant transformation. I've gone through a lot of stuff in my life already and overcome a lot of issues. And I genuinely feel like I can help other people go through this process. There's not many coaches out there who have actually been through a huge body transformation like mine. Losing 11 stone, yes, it's a physical process, but much more than that is the mental side of it. It's not easy to go through. There will be blips here and there. You will put on a little bit at times. You will have the odd meal off here and there. You will slip up occasionally and have a bit too much food for the odd month or so. That's natural because you're a human being. We go through hard times and food can be a comfort to us at times. But I've overcome all of these issues and sustained a huge weight loss and a much healthier, happy life. So I started to decide that this was something that I needed to do to help other people to have some of those same feelings that I've had as a result of losing weight. So I started to really educate myself on nutrition, training, coaching, mental health, and dedicated hours upon hours to learning more, to being coached by people to learn what they do and how they deal with things, how I would tweak things to help, how I'd use my own experiences to relate to your average person who might not want to lose tons of weight, doesn't want to be super restrictive like a bodybuilder prepping for a show, but just wants to be in a little bit better shape and feel a bit better about themselves. And that's something that I could truly relate to, and knew that with my story could actually be quite powerful in helping other people. So slowly in time, I started to coach people. Initially, I actually even coached people for free. Just to test out to myself that I actually did know what I was talking about, and that I could do more than just training myself. That I had certain skills and a level of relatability that I could actually help coach other people. And I started to see results. By genuinely caring and being passionate about what I do, rubbed off on other people. They started to see the same benefits that I had seen, and their lives started to change. And honestly, that's the most amazing thing about what I do. I get to wake up every single day and help other people to change their lives. It's honestly the best feeling in the world when a client walks in or they send me a message and you see that smile on the face. You see that little bit of swagger in their walk that suddenly come because they feel more confident in who they are. It's honestly the best feeling, and it's not like anything else that I can replicate in another area of my life. So I absolutely love what I do. It then went on to another stage. So at the time, I was working in retail. I didn't enjoy my job. I'll be honest, I was just coasting through life. As I said to you, I'd lost motivation. It just became easy, it wasn't challenging, and it paid my bills at the time. But I knew that I was capable and wanted far more for my life than this. I knew I was drifting, and that wasn't who I was anymore. I knew that I could achieve far more and actually put my experiences to use helping other people. So I became a personal trainer. And doing that was one of the best decisions of my life. As I said to you, I now get to wake up every single day knowing that I'm helping people in their daily lives. I get to be that sense of motivation that pushes them through that hard workout. I'm that person for them to listen to when they need a bit of advice, or for me just to listen to them when they're struggling and they need someone to talk to. I'm there for them to help them in whatever way I can to make their life better for them to see the benefits of being fit, of being active. And honestly, I absolutely love it. It's incredible. I'm not going to pretend to you that it suddenly took off overnight, because it didn't. It takes time. You have to put in a lot of work. I had to produce a lot of content and social media stuff to show people that I know what I'm talking about. As I said, I initially coached people for free, again, so that I had proof that what I can do actually works. It took time. It took a good few years, honestly. I worked part-time. I stayed with the retail part-time because I needed to pay my bills, whilst then pushing my coaching and training business on the side. There were times I was getting up in the morning, I was doing some PTs, probably around 5, 6 a.m. I was then going to work for 8 hours at the job, coming back, doing another client or two in PTs. I would then go to the gym and train myself, do my cardio. I would then start working on my content and information stuff that I'm putting out there, before finally food prepping for the next day and then going to bed. So I could quite literally be on the go from 5 o'clock in the morning till around 11, 12 at night. And I was doing that month after month. And I'm not going to pretend to you at the time that that was incredible. It wasn't. It was hard. It was tiring. But that's what's sometimes required when you're looking to really push something on. I wasn't deluded enough to believe that I could just suddenly tell people, look at me, I'm a coach, I'm a PT, I know what I'm doing, and expect people to suddenly come along and start paying me to help them. I knew that work and time and commitment would be required. And because I care about what I do, I was prepared to put in that time. Now, thankfully, after doing so, I was fortunate enough to be in the situation to be able to give up my job, to give up doing the retail work, which I didn't enjoy anymore. I'd got myself into the position that I felt like, do you know what? I can take the risk. I've got enough money starting to come through that I can do it. So I gave it a go. I finally did it, and it's an amazing, amazing feeling. Now, genuinely every day, I get to do what I love for my job. Now, I'm not complacent to think that I'm set for life, anything like that, because that's not the case by any means. I still have to work hard, and I enjoy doing what I do. But the sense of waking up and knowing that you're doing what you enjoy, rather than what you're being forced to do, is incredible. And I'm truly lucky to have an amazing team of people that I now help to get results. It's honestly incredible, and I absolutely love what I do. The biggest message that I want you to take away from this first episode is that you are capable. If you've tried diets before and they haven't worked, that doesn't mean that the next one won't work. What you actually need is the right plan in place. You don't need a crash diet in which you cut your calories so low, you feel low on energy, low on mood, you don't enjoy what you're doing. That's not sustainable, that's not enjoyable, and it's not going to work long term. This shouldn't just be thought of as a diet. What you should be thinking of is creating a new, healthy, sustainable lifestyle. One that you're actually able to enjoy the foods that you want. You're able to enjoy training, and you're able to have a normal life. By being aware of what you're eating, putting some level of thought and planning into place, then allows you more freedom to have meals off here and there, to go out for a night out with your friends, to have that takeaway at the weekend. Because the vast majority of the time you're consistent, rather than trying to be perfect on a restrictive diet. It's all about sustainability and creating a plan that you can actually stick to. A plan that you enjoy, a lifestyle that you enjoy that also gets you results. This is completely possible because it's something that I have actually achieved myself. And it's something that now I help other people to achieve. You are capable, it can be done. And this podcast aims to show to you just what can be achieved with the right plan in place. All right, so to quickly wrap up today, we covered how to enjoy your nights out, takeaways, and social life without wrecking your fat loss goals. Remember, weight loss doesn't have to be miserable. You just need the right plan. Now, I want you to think about this. What's one thing that you can take from this episode and actually use this week? And if this episode hit home for you, send it to a friend who needs to hear it. Or pop it in your story and tag me. I would love to see what resonates with you. And don't forget to hit follow, because next week's episode is a seriously good one. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. I'm Sam, and I'm here to tell you weight loss doesn't have to be miserable. You can get real results with the right plan in place and have a normal life.